The 2023 Road to MotoGP in the Finetwork FIM JuniorGP World Championship is coming to a close. The Circuit Ricardo Tormo here in Valencia, our traditional curtain closer, 4 kilometers in length, and an abundance of action awaiting. Overtaking hotspots right the way through this tight and twisty circuit. It's always giving drama. This year, no different. In JuniorGP, we've had 6 different winners, 12 different podium finishers. Be sure over 2 17-lap races today that gets added to. It is the final round of the season. Clear blue skies don't tell the full story here, though, in Cheste, just outside of the Valencian city centre. We have had massive gale force winds right the way up until this morning. We have got jumbled up grids to get through. We have had a lack of track time. There was no running on Thursday or Friday. Kiko Giles here, Steve English back alongside me for the season finale. Steve, let's get into it. We've got the title already decided in JuniorGP, but there's a massive fight for second place and personal pride at honour before they go into their off-season.
Yeah, once again, it's been a great year for the JuniorGP classes. We've had 6 different winners. We've had 12 riders on the podium. We've had a dozen riders leading races at the end of a lap as well. So it's been an action-packed season all the way through.
This is what happened last time out at Motorland Aragon for JuniorGP. We had a title on the line in Angel Piqueras. The number 18 was going for pole position, and he did have to work hard to fend off the opposition. Of course, last time out there was only 1 race for JuniorGP. Nico Carraro was right in the mix, David Almanza too, despite long lap penalties. Alvaro Carpe and Luca Lanetta formed a massive rivalry, and we'll get back to that on track later today in Valencia. Jacob Ralston had to come through from outside the top 10 and was right in contention along with his teammate Joel Esteban. But as usual, chopping and changing at the front. We also had Adrian Cruces right up there. There was this massive crash on the last lap for Nico Carraro, but the championship did go the way of Angel Piqueras. He moves on to the Moto3 World Championship next year. He's looking to sign off on a high this weekend. As you can see, we are primed for action here. Just over 10 minutes until we get underway here at the Circuito Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. 61 degrees Fahrenheit air temperature. It's probably the lowest we've had all year. It's only 22 degrees centigrade track temperature, 16 degrees air in centigrade. It's chilly. It's November as well in Valencia, of course, and it's never normally a warm one. Steve, we were here earlier in the year in May. Pretty nice weather, pretty predictable racing in terms of there were no anomalies. They've had no running Thursday or Friday. How important is that going to be for the JuniorGP lads? 2 races for them as well.
Well, a lot of the JuniorGP riders have a lot of experience, whether it's a few years in the European Talent Cup, a lot of them double duty in the Red Bull Rookies Cup as well, so they're used to having pretty limited track time in a lot of cases for the Rookies Cup and things like that. So for these riders, they'll be able to adapt to it. It's for some of the other riders, a little bit more inexperienced riders in the European Talent Cup, or especially the stock class later in the day, that's probably going to be the most interesting thing for how they adapt, just because it's this big wind that's blowing all the way around Cheste that is going to affect things, and that's what the riders have to deal with.
Xavi Zuratuza took pole position, the first of his career. Let's find out what happened on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, this weekend is amazing because we lose two days of training, and now we do the pole position, my first pole position in the JuniorGP class, and I'm very happy for the work with the team, with my family, with my sponsor, and it was a very good qualifying because the strategy it was very good, and I'm super happy. Tomorrow the target is the second position in the championship, and we will see what happens tomorrow. We have 2 races. Yes, I like this track. It's not the most I like it, but I like too much. It's a small track. You can see every corners, and I like it. It's special, Valencia.
Valencia is a special track. It's hosted many crowning moments right across the landscape of motorcycle racing. Think back to 2006 in MotoGP. Think back to last year here in MotoGP, also in Junior GP. And Steve, a new pole sitter, Jabi Zuratuza, he was our 100th race winner back at Portimao. He's already got his name in the history books, and he is looking good this weekend.
And you can see here his tail at the tape for the season so far. It doesn't really show the full story. In Catalonia, that retirement was from a podium position as well. He's been really strong this season. Second front row of the campaign as well. He's trying to end the year in style.
We're going to move through the grid here, so we're going to take you to Luca Lanetta. He should be lining up in second place. The number 58 got his elbows out last time out with Alvaro Carpe. Here he is, best qualifying this year was a pole position in Portugal, both races, Estoril and Portimao. He has had podiums, 2 P3s, and one of them came last time we were here in Valencia. He knows his way around this track. In fact, it was his first podium in the class.
Yeah, he's second in the championship, but there's only 19 points between him and Jacob Rolston down in 6th in the championship. So all to play for Luca Lanetta today.
Alvaro Carpe, of course, is next up in the championship. Interestingly, between them, only 6 points. And like I say, they had a massive fight last time out at Aragon. This is Adrian Cruces. Cruces still without a race win in Junior GP, despite podiums, despite poles. A best qualifying of the year was 3rd at Portimao. He's matched that this weekend. He goes from the front row. Perfect opportunity to snatch a victory before the season comes to a close.
Yeah, you can see there are 3 top 5s in a row. If he's able to come away with 5 top 5s in the last 5 races, it does show that he's had that experience all the way through the year of getting better and better and more consistent. And that's what teams are looking for in this championship.
Great to see good fan clubs here this weekend. Jabi Zuratuza on your left, Alberto Ferrandez, he's up in Moto 2 on the right. When we came in this morning, Steve, massive queue for the pit walk. Nico Carraro was one of the riders they were looking for. He was a race winner right at the start of this season in Estoril. It's been distant since then. No podium and only 2 top 5s, although one of them was here in Valencia.
Yeah, he also had 3 races in the Moto3 World Championship, came away with 11th place finish in the wet, the crazy conditions of Phillip Island. So for him, it's all about trying to just build up towards next season as much as anything else. It is difficult in the Junior GP class to find that consistency, but he needs to be able to do that over the course of the winter.
His teammate should be lining up alongside him. Jacob Ralston, the Australian from New South Wales. Here he is in number 12, taken out in the last lap last time out at Aragon by teammate Joel Esteban in what was a disastrous last 4 corners for the Aspar team. All 3 of their riders going down. First podium of the year, came here in Valencia, 2 second places. They are his 2 podiums. He would love, before he goes to the Moto3 World Championship, to grab a win, Steve.
Finished top 5 in the Rookies Cup this year, can easily finish top 5 in Junior GP as well. If you can do that across both feeder championships, it does show your talent. And like you said, he's going to be in the World Championship next season.
6th place goes to Facundo Yambias, the number 94 Uruguayan rider from Paysandú in South America. No wins or podiums or poles, but this is his best qualifying. 6th on the grid. His previous best was 7th of the season. That was at Jerez. Steve, good form, 3 top 10s in the last 3 races. He'll be looking to end this year was showing the form that we know from previous championships that he's capable of.
5 rounds this year, he's qualified inside the top 3 rows of the grid, so the speed's there, but finding that consistency has been a struggle for him. But the one good thing is he's coming here on the back of 3 top 10s in a row. He needs to be able to maintain that form.
Champion already, Angel Piqueras has wrapped up the title last time out at Aragon, and as soon as he's been crowned champion, he suffers his worst qualifying performance of the season. Head of row 3 for Piqueras, but look at the form. In all of the races, he's finished outside the podium places just twice. That is the mark of a champion.
Yeah, but you also look at what he did in Rookies Cup. He was able to come away with the Rookies Championship this year as well. He started the season with 5 wins in the opening 6 races, similar to what he did here with 3 wins in the first 4, and he really was able to build up all the way through. He does look like he's one of those big stars of the future that you always see coming through the ranks here in Junior GP.
This is the number 14 of Cormac Buchanan, New Zealander Cormac Buchanan. He's another rider, Steve, who doubles up in both championships, Red Bull Rookies and here in Junior GP. He actually qualified on the front row last time out, but a penalty meant he started from the back. This time, he goes from 8th.
Super impressive mid-season in Jerez. He came away with 2 top 5s. He does look like he's been able to find a little bit of an improvement this year on that AGR bike. But for Buchanan, it's about, like I said, for some of those other riders, building up for next season as much as anything else.
9th place on the grid. We are going to go and check out Alvaro Carpe very soon, the Murcian rider. He is a bit of a Valencian specialist. His first podium of the season, the first podium in this class, came here, and his best result in his debut year, last year, also came here, although it was 16th then. 3 podiums in 2023, no win, no 2 second places, 1 third, 5th last time out at Aragon.
And in Estoril, the opening race of the year, he was disqualified from a podium. So if you put a P3 in that, you see just how strong he was all the way through the season. Only one retirement this year, and that was in race 2 in Catalonia. Other than that, he's been between 5th and 10th pretty much all the way through the campaign. He's been very consistent. He's done a good job this season. And for Carpe, he's just another one of those long list of riders coming through Murcia that's got that talent.
Carpe's 3rd in the championship, 6 points adrift of Lunetta. Lunetta goes from 2nd, Carpe from 9th. Head of row 4, Alessandro Morosi. 39 points this year, only 15th in the championship standings, but back in the top 10 on the grid, looking to get back in the top 6 overall. His best result of the year coming here earlier in the year in May. Morosi 6th then. Can he repeat it? He'll be looking to do it from the head of row 4.
Yeah, he also had a podium in the Italian Championship earlier this year as well at Mugello. He came back for 1 round only and 2 top 6s, including a podium. So he's a rider that probably would have expected to make more of a step this year, 18 years of age. So he's at that point where he really does need to start showing those end of season results.
Eddie O'Shea will go from 12th place. Now, his best qualifying of this year and indeed of his career was Jerez earlier in the year. He hasn't quite matched the podium he achieved at Jerez last year, but he has been a consistent force inside them top 6, top 5 places. Podium potential for sure, but he's got work to do from the from the back of row 4.
Yeah, and for Eddie, it's one of those situations, turned 17 a couple of weeks ago, and it is now for him really to make that step as that talent team rider.
We are ready to go then for Junior GP, race number 11 of 12. Xabi Zuratuza, a first ever pole sitter. Luca Lunetta looking to consolidate 2nd in the championship. Adrian Cruces still hasn't won a race. Plenty of stories to look at right the way through the field, and just look at the array of nationalities in them front 3 rows alone. We have at least 5. Don't forget, want to talk about a rider we didn't see him on the grid. We rushed to see Eddie O'Shea, but in 11th place in the middle of the 4th row, Ruche Moodley from Port Elizabeth in South Africa is making his debut inside the Junior GP class. He has been obviously in the European Talent Cup class for the whole season so far, and he's been a podium finisher back at Catalonia. But now he has a big chance to prove himself in Junior GP, and Moodley, very impressive, goes from 11th, so keep an eye out from him. We've got riders at the back of the grid, they're coming through. Keep an eye out for your usual suspects. Joel Esteban will go from 26th, and Noah Detweiler, who moves up to the Moto3 World Championship, I beg your pardon, goes from 27th. Motorcycle mechanics all clearing away now. We have 30 seconds until the race warm-up lap will get underway. Steve, big power-packed front row of the grid, and there's no title on the line, so I think we're going to have some gloves-off action here right from the first corner.
No title on the line, but only 19 points between 2nd and 6th in the Junior GP Championship. So for these riders, there is still a top 3 spot to play for, and they've got a lot to prove in this race. But looking at the grid as well, there are penalties to mention. Joel Esteban, race winner earlier in the season, he's got a double long lap penalty. You mentioned Noah Detweiler, he's going to start from pit lane and have a double long lap penalty. And Shayami down in pit lane as well. And then the Catalan race winner, Fadila Aritama, will have a double long lap penalty as well. So for these Junior GP riders, as always, Kiko, there's a fair bit of action that's going to be coming all the way through this race.
We're into the warm-up lap then. Steve, talk to me about the overtaking opportunities at this track. It is tight, it is twisty, but this class of racing generally suits that kind of track. I mean, they love the long straights and the slipstream city of Aragon, say, but Valencia works well too.
Well, Valencia is a track that's tailor-made for Moto 3 machinery and Junior GP machinery, so this is one of those places where you've got decent speeds reached into turn 1. Obviously, for a Moto GP race here, it's always a case of a leading group of 10, 15 riders, and it'll be something similar in the Junior GP class as well. Moto 3 keeps the field close together, but this is one of those situations where we do need to keep an eye out for certain riders. Obviously, the main rider to keep an eye out for, number 18, our champion this year, Angel Pequeras, coming from the 3rd row of the grid, and we'll see what kind of progress he's able to make. He'll be disappointed to be on the 3rd row, but he's shown all the way through this year that he's pretty much a force of nature, so he's going to be looking to come through. So from that third row, we'll keep an eye on him.
I just want to talk about Piqueras. Of course, he is already our champion with 2 wins today. We have 2 races. Race 2 coming up later on. He will be on 6 race wins. If he wins both, he'll be on 6 race wins, and that will put him second in the overall Junior GP win tallies. Fabio Quartararo is ahead of him. Piqueras on 4 already has more than the likes of Francesco Bagnaia, Jaume Masia, Pedro Acosta and Alonso Lopez. And with 2 podiums this weekend, 13 in total, the third most of anyone in the class, we have seen a dominant season by the number 18, and he checks out up to the Moto3 World Championship at the end of all of this. He could be going on, leaving his legacy and his mark for many seasons to come.
Yeah, so many times we see it where that Estrella Galicia team, the Mondial competition team, do such a good job. They're able to develop riders all the way through. Especially here in Junior GP, they are the reference team. But for the riders that come through, they then also need to be able to show that maybe in this class they're not really able to show their full potential, just because some of the teams a little bit weaker than that Estrella Galicia team.
Steve, just before we go lights out, prediction?
Keep an eye out for Piqueras from that third row of the grid. He's going to lead within a couple of laps.
Jabi Zurutuza then goes from pole position for the first time in a Junior GP class. Luca Lanetta will want to take second in a title. There's plenty of stories to look out for. We are underway. Not a great start from the third row by Angel Piqueras. The 18 has gone backwards. Lanetta versus Zurutuza. Down to turn 1. Nico Carraro's on the outside, but it's Lanetta who comes through, and Cruces has followed him through as well. Good start further back from Alvaro Carpe. The number 83 is up into the top 7 positions from 9th on the grid. Looking on the inside is Jacob Wilson as they come through turn 2. Couple of collisions further back. That looked like it was Eddie O'Shea who's gone backwards, but out front, Adrian Cruces with a dream start, and he's ahead of Nico Carraro through the first 3 corners. And out wide, Estrella Galicia machine, was it Piqueras? Or was it was Piqueras, because Yambias is up there in 6th.
Yeah, and a little bit further back, we saw Morossi at turn 1. He was the number 19 that ran out wide. Track limits, obviously something we're going to have to keep an eye on all the way through this race. Morossi, you can see there, he's recovered well. He's up into 6th and about to dive down the inside of Yambias to take 5th.
He doesn't get it on the brakes this time round. This is turn 8 through here, long left-hander, then through the chicane, through left and right here. Cruces has bolted at the front already. Lanetta, good jump from him, did get the whole shot. I think he was a bit late on the brakes into turn 1 and has slipped back to 3rd right now. Yambias is being punted along by Morossi. Just behind him is Carpe, who made a good getaway but has settled back down in 8th place, just 1 place up from where he was, and in 9th place at the moment, Cormac Buchanan. So the 8th and 9th on the grid have swapped places in the race so far. As we come to the end of lap 1 then, 17 laps to go. Do not think it's going to stay like this, because it absolutely is not. Where is Angel Piqueras? He must be down in about 9th or 10th place. He's well down the order as they come across the line for the first time. Piqueras crosses the line in 11th. He's behind Casey O'Gorman, who has moved up inside the top 10 from outside the top 10 on the grid.
Yeah, O'Gorman on the 67, the Estrella Galicia rider, just there in the outside the top 10 and doing a good job here in the opening couple of laps as well. He's got Moto3 experience obviously from the past, and O'Gorman doing a solid job now, having switched over to that Estrella Galicia team earlier this year.
Estrella Galicia team, of course, renowned for developing young talent. Let's hope Casey O'Gorman's career can take off from here, because he's got the pace and potential, without doubt the talent. We are just... Oh, Nico Carraro is running the back there of Cruces on the exit of turn 5.
Few places around here it's key for overtaking. Turn 1, turn 2, down the end of this back straight, and then try and make a move into that final sector as well. So you can catch people in the wrong places and then have to shut off. That's what we saw Cruces have to do.
Don't forget as well that Valencia, it is a difficult place to pass, and generally if you do make the pass, there isn't an opportunity for the rider to answer back, because no corner really leads in the opposite direction to the other. We just got another rider taking a long lap penalty. Didn't quite see who that was. They're just coming back on now. Might have been Rossi.
I think it could have been. Well, you've got Joel Esteban up there in the back end of the lead group also having to take one. So we've got plenty of riders that will have to take them in the first 5 laps. So we'll see that the order is going to shake itself out pretty soon, just to give us everyone taking those penalties.
Coming to the end of lap 2 then, Cruces leading well on the Finetwork Mia Racing Team KTM. He switched over from Cuna de Campeones earlier this year, and he's been a star really ever since. He was looking at a podium last time out at Aragon. Carraro second, third place for Lunetta. Zuratuzzi, poleman fourth. Wilson holds fifth from on the grid. He's fifth in the race. Sixth now is Carpe as they move through. Yes, Ralston is going through on the inside of Zuratuzzi, and so is Carpe. In fact, Carpe is going to take both of them. Yes, he is. I was just about to say we're not seeing too much overtaking. I was obviously wrong. Oh, through comes Ralston again. That's the P4. But we've not had a lot of track time, Steve. So these guys, this is exploration work as much as anything.
I was going to say, look, keep yourself calm. It's a Moto 3 race here at Valencia, 17 laps. There's going to be overtaking. There's going to be action all the way through. You have to save that energy for the last couple of laps because that's when the race really is run at the front of the field. You can see in this lead group, it started to splinter out a little bit at the front, and the 67 of O'Gorman's actually making decent progress there at the back. He's trying to bring this group closer together as well. At the front of the field, Cruces isn't slow, but he's not fast either. That's why we're not seeing him stretch out that lead, or the leading group stretching out to being 5 or 6 riders. We do have 10 or 11 guys there right now, so it is a case of at this stage of the race, everyone... That's O'Gorman.
That was O'Gorman. It was O'Gorman because Yambias and Piqueras are still there. O'Gorman, that was looking like a high side coming out of turn 11. So, Case O'Gorman's race 1 in Junior GP has ended in the gravel. Let's hope he's up and okay as they come through the final corner. Cruces leading ahead of Nico Carraro. Don't forget, Carraro had good pace here back in May. Carraro was one of the riders right in the lead group until about 3/4 race distance, and then he dropped off. But don't expect him to do that this time around. Carraro's a matured rider right the way through the year. This is the best season we've seen from him. He is one of the, excuse me, he is one of the older riders in this class. So we perhaps should have expected it a little bit sooner. But watch Carraro in second place, but really watch Lunetta in third. Great to see Case O'Gorman up on his feet.
Yeah, down at turn 11, and a lot of the time just 11 you can actually lose the front through there just as you open the gas. We'll wait and see what happened to O'Gorman, but shame for him. He had managed to make good progress, giving himself a chance being able to run inside the top 10. You can see now after that incident it has splintered. It's a leading group of 9 riders now, and this is where the race win should be picked from, really. In 10th position, it's Russell Haller that has that bit of ground to make up, but you can see there is a second and a half to make up. It's going to be tricky for him.
Yeah, Jacob Rosenthal, of course, your podium finisher from right at the start of the year. He picked up that podium after Carpe was disqualified, actually, back in Estoril. They all come through now. This is where Case O'Gorman crashed his right-hander up here, turn 11. It's so tricky. You can lose the front on the way in, you can high-side it on the way out. Let's hope everyone's through cleanly this time. No yellow flags there anymore, so O'Gorman, man and machine have been moved out of the way, and the racing continues at the front. So Cruces 11 has been your only race leader so far. Luca Lunetta in second place now. It's going to try and really launch an attack. He's on the inside. No, just feints to the inside, doesn't make the move. So at the moment, we have got Cruces, Lunetta, Carraro and Carpe. They are your front 4. They are fractionally ahead of Jacob Ralston. Jacob Ralston, of course, looking to end this season high, and this is the best in 6th place that we've seen of Marossi all season. Yeah,
and you can see now everyone just trying to use that toe to give himself a chance of making moves into turn 1. It's slow at the front of the field, a 40.3 right now. It is windy out there, but Moto 3 bikes, usually at Valencia, you'll see low 39s in the Junior GP class. So they are running pretty slow at this stage. That's why we're not really seeing anyone making breaks at the front. But it's also impressive from Cruces that even though he's running those low 40s, he's still holding on to the lead. Everyone just trying to figure out what way the wind's going. It's been very windy here over the last couple of days, and that does create a big issue for these Moto 3 bikes in particular.
5th place battle there. Marossi was coming through on, I think it was Ralston, and there was a bit of arm waving going on then, and yeah, Ralston's rolled out of it back into 6th place. Marossi comes through into 4th place. Battle for 3rd. There comes Carpe. Alvaro Carpe has looked very, very good here. Coming from the 3rd row of the grid. He's really growing in stature right the way through this season. He really should have had 4 podiums on his scorecard. He hasn't. He's only got the 3. One of those positions is missing. It is the top step. He has been a Valencia specialist. He's won here in ETC. He's podiumed here already. His first one in Junior GP came here earlier in the year, back in May. Carpe knows his way around. Cruces out wide there at turn 12, so race direction will be keeping an eye on him going out on the green. But as they come down into the last corner, this never-ending left-hander goes from 13 to 14 almost seamlessly, and now back on the front straight, Slipstream City all the way.
Yeah, and the toe is important on the run down in towards turn 1. It's not like in Aragon or different places that you go through the course of the season, Catalonia or anywhere where you've got that long stretch in that top gear. Here in Valencia, it's about trying to get that drive onto the straight, give yourself the opportunity, especially on the last lap, to be able to try and drag someone to the line. But it's not quite as important for the slipstream as it is in some other places that we go to through the course of the season.
We saw last year, of course, it was between Colin Vire and David Salvador in race 1 for Junior GP Honours. Race 2 was actually red flagged because of a crash for Vire, which left oil, and then David Almanza crashed, but Almanza was reinstated with his race win. But in race 1, it was that run to the line, and David Salvador at long last finally took honours. This is a place, really, you're coming out of the final corner leading, you should have job done. We've got 12 laps to go until that. This could all change since then. Let's just give you a run through. It's siding through comes Angel Piqueras. Let's not go through the top 10. Let's talk about your champion.
Yeah, you can see there for Piqueras, just comes through just where he needs to, and he cuts across the front as well. He's making sure he's making that progress and not leaving himself vulnerable for attack from behind. And he's making sure on that 18 that he can make that progress. He's been able to do a good job to recover from 11th position back up into round about 5th position now.
Ruche Moodley has crashed. Oh, what a shame. Has he crashed or has he headbutted
that looks like it's down at turn 6 there for him. So for Moodley, that's a disappointing way to end this one, but there is a race 2 this afternoon for Junior GP as well. And
Moodley will go from the middle of the 4th row. Moodley is a great talent. He had a massive crash here earlier in the year in ETC. He missed this round altogether. He has been a bit of a revelation, I must say, this weekend. 3 abreast then, down into turn 1. Junior GP action is back for the final time in 2023. Piqueras is looking to take advantage of Carrara, who was just a little bit wide there, but not this time. Lanetta defends from Carpe. Morossi coming through on the inside of Piqueras. That was at turn 2 and parks it on the apex. There's nothing even Piqueras can do about that one.
Yeah, good clean move there from Morossi. Obviously, he had just been cut up last lap around, so he was making sure he could make his progress down the inside into turn 2. Turn 2 is one of those key places to overtake. You can try and defend the position. You leave yourself a little bit vulnerable, though, just for your speed mid-corner as well. It's a real technical track around certain areas on a Moto3 bike around here, just for your racecraft, and that's where the likes of Piqueras has been impressive. The back of this group, though, Yambias on the 94 doing a good job once again just to be able to maintain that top 10 spot and give himself a chance.
You can see, we've got another crasher. That looks, is it Rosenthaler? It is, it's Jacob Rosenthaler. So Rosenthaler has gone down. That looks like turn 4 or turn 5 from where we are. We'll try and pick that up later on. Rosenthaler's race completely run.
Morossi was the one running out wide there on the number 19 machine, so we've seen him do that 2 or 3 times now. So again, that's where race direction will be keeping an eye on that. You don't want to use up your credits this early in the race.
There's a lot of battling yet to come. Oh dear me, and that is Kevin Farkas. Kevin Farkas has gone down. That's on the exit of turn 5. The number 56 coming in this weekend, and so far his race has run less than halfway through. So Farkas, let's hope he's up and okay. You can see the yellow flags are still out. Double yellows at turn 5 as defending for position. Lanetta looked like he was trying to come through and defend from Carpe in the same time, but in the end, no change. Cruces still leading, Steve.
Just about Farkas there as well. Like, the reason you have a crash like that is because of the lack of track running as well. It does impact on you whenever you've got basically the 2 days of pre-event testing cancelled, or testing and practice cancelled, and then suddenly you're playing catch-up all the way through. So hopefully he's able to get out for race 2 this afternoon. It did look like a big impact for him, but hopefully he's able to get himself out for race 2 and give himself a chance to gain the experience you need in this class.
They've just come through the yellow flag zone, so we'll not see any overtaking there. We can see from our commentary position that they're just moving the bike away. I think the rider was already out of the way indeed. Yambias there looked like he was signalling to your poleman Chabi Zuratuza to try and follow through. Following through comes Carpe on Cruces, and he does go wide. Cruces comes back at him, so Carpe trying to secure second in the title so far. He was briefly ahead, couldn't quite hold it. Oh, Lanetta! He was having quite a close look at that swing arm then on the back of Carpe. Carpe in second place. There's Uruche Moodley. They're trying to mend that machine if he can get out. get back on track. If there's a red flag, the grid will reset. Rouge Moodley will be able to take his position on the grid, Steve.
Yeah, and just for Adrian Cruces there, we saw that into the end of the back straight, he was attacked, but he immediately was able to fight back. That's a good indication as well that he's breaking on that limit down into the back straight, because the other rider was just basically sailed past him and he was able to keep a cool head to get back down the inside. Good, clever riding there from Cruces, but there's a long way left in this race. We're just coming up to half distance.
9 laps to go, and again Carpe tries to attack Cruces, and this time, so far, he is successful, but he does go a bit wide again, and Cruces will just turn that under him. Now we're up towards turn 2, and Lanetta has it as well, and Carraro. Will Morossi make his way through? Whoa, Carraro's getting his elbows out. He's going to run Carpe out wide, and Carpe, there's nothing he can do. By that time, the track still turns left, and Carpe's got no room. Through comes Morossi. This is a fantastic ride from Morossi, the best we've seen of him, Steve, I think all season, it's fair to say.
Yeah, Morossi doing a good job in the 19, and the goal for him obviously has to be just to keep that together, give yourself an opportunity. He was on the 4th row of the grid, and he's now put himself up there into the top 4, so we'll see if he's able to give himself a chance at that podium spot, but there's a long way left in this race, and it is a case of, for these riders, just trying to keep your cool head, keep yourself in contention. You know it's going to come down to the last lap, so it's about trying to figure out where your bike's working well and you get your opportunities to come through. For Carpe, we saw that he had the high ground into turn 1, he had the inside line, but he couldn't get the bike stopped, and he was then attacked on the exit. So he needs to file that one away as something that he needs to improve on.
He was just being attacked then, Steve, into turn 11. That was Picaras coming through, but this is what you're exactly talking about. Talk us through it.
Yeah, you can see here into turn 1, he's got the position, but he just sails past the apex. For the number 11 of Cruces, he does a good job of being able to understand you have to concede the position. You're not going to be able to attack back. Let's see if I can hold the tight line and give myself an opportunity. Good, clever riding by him.
Will wind have played a bit of a factor as well going into turn 1?
The wind is going to be a factor all the way through, but for all the riders, you have to adapt to it. I think for Cruces, it was just about trying to learn and understand what he needs to do to be able to give himself a chance to lead this race. He's done it again on this lap, so good riding by him to understand the importance of mid-corner and exit rather than just being last on the late brakes.
And that has cost Lanetta as well. Lanetta sailed wide and has lost track position, not just to your leader, but to second place as well. So turn 1 proving difficult to get the job done, but not turn 4. Wow, through comes Lanetta, parks it on Carpe. I remind you, with 8 laps to go, these are your 2 championship contenders for runner-up position. 6 points between them. Lanetta leads Carpe at the minute. At the moment, that gap goes up to 10 points with 1 race of 2023 to go. But I tell you what, Cruces looking very, very comfortable out front.
He's looking comfortable, but he's looking vulnerable as well. And for 7.5 laps to try and hold on to this, he hasn't shown enough speed to be able to do that, because on the last couple of laps, we are going to see it where everyone pushes a bit harder. We're going to see it stretched out. Cruces has done a really good job up to this point on the number 11 machine, but everyone else just looks like they got a bit more underneath them, particularly Angel Picaras. He's now making that progress. He's understanding where he can be a little bit more aggressive. He's understanding where the wind is really forcing the bikes to have to be a little bit conservative. But for him right now, he's just picking off riders corner by corner, lap by lap. So keep an eye out for the number 18. He's our champion this year in JuniorGP. He's our Red Bull Rookies Cup winner as well. He's been so strong all the way through the season, and he's now making that progress.
Just in the back of shot, Joel Esteban is coming into view. He is in 10th place so far, 2.8 seconds back of the back of this group. Cruces again defending very well. As you say, Steve, comfortable but vulnerable. I think that's about as fair as we can be. But we've seen that in World Superbike at times as well this year, and sometimes just being fast at the right point can make sure that he can stay in contention and at the front.
Well, that is the key in Moto 3 classes. You've got to be able to make sure that you're able to keep that track position, but you also need to have a little bit more to be able to try and dictate terms. As it is right now, he's having to defend, whereas for the other riders, they're able to attack, they're able to show them a little bit more. But Cruces doesn't want to give up that track position because he wants to keep himself at the front.
Lanetta and Carpe renewing their battle from Aragon, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. This is through turn 7. Lanetta's on the inside. Carpe's going to try and go around the outside. I can't see how that's going to work. And Picaras is going to come in through, take third place. Thank you very much. So Carpe has got to rethink his strategy in terms of making places. We've seen him try and go through to the... Oh! Picaras gets it done as well. Fantastic stuff from Picaras. But back to Carpe. We have seen that he's tried to make positions through. He hasn't. He's run wide, and it's in the end cost him places a couple of corners later. Piqueras the second.
Yeah, but you can see for Piqueras, he's not actually making moves. He's just holding his lines, and that's what's giving him the opportunity to come through. He's got that raw speed all the way through the season. You can see that for Lunetta, able to get down the inside. You do that into that last corner. It's one of those places where, particularly at this stage of the race, there's no point to defend it. Leave the door open. For Piqueras, he knows he's going to get more opportunities. For Carpe, though, on that 83 machine, it is about trying to make the moves, but make them clean. He's not quite fast enough to actually make the move and take advantage of it. He's having to pass on the limit. We'll see if into turn 2 he's able to give himself an opportunity. You can see, though, for Lunetta, able to defend that well.
And Piqueras has gone through into the lead. Piqueras, your race leader, then ahead of Cruces, and crucially, Piqueras made that stick. Lunetta's coming through on Cruces 2 as well. Morossi is in 4th. He's waiting to take advantage of the number 11.
Everyone needs to come through now, though, because Piqueras has the speed to be able to pull away. He's able to make the move into turn 1 because all the way through this race, we haven't seen him run wide. We haven't seen him run in too deep into a corner. He's able to get the bike stopped and hit his apex. Everyone else, when they were trying to attack Cruces, ran in a little bit wide. Now we'll see if the number 11 actually has something to be able to attack back.
Don't forget as well, the 18 of Piqueras coming from his worst qualifying of the year at the head of row 3, 7th place. And he's just biding his time. He's come through to lead, and he's looking very comfortable doing so. Cruces going to launch half an attack. He's going to... Whoa, I thought he was going to push his competitor out wide there. Lunetta just about closing the door. Lunetta also has what seems to me good pace. That Piqueras hasn't escaped yet, but you feel like, oh, that's a shame. Cormac Buchanan, the New Zealander, that's on the exit, I think, of turn 6 by the looks of it. So Buchanan, that looks more technical than rider error. So Morossi, that's through into 3rd place. They come now to start the final 5 laps of race 1 in Junior GP.
Last time around, it was mid 1 minute 40s from the race leaders. Let's see what it is from Piqueras when he comes across the line. Still at the same sort of pace, but now we'll see if the pace starts to increase with a new race leader. You can see for Cruces, though, he's been so strong into turn 1, being able to hold his line. Now he's able to make the moves into turn 1. So good, clean move there from the purple bike, number 11.
He's able to make his moves and hold position. That's something we haven't seen from the riders trying to pass him. So Cruces has obviously got his bike sorted out into turn 1. He's looking very, very comfortable indeed. This is where Lunetta's been strong, but he's not strong enough to attack Piqueras. Turn 4 and 5. Oh, that's close. Turn 5. Through comes Carpe on Zuratuza.
Yeah, look at the body language of everyone now. They're all much more aggressive on the bike. They know that the pace is increasing. That's why we're starting to stretch out. The back of that group, Yambias starting to lose a little bit of ground in the early stage of this lap. He's done a good job, though, to pull back some of that margin back to the number 10 machine. But this is the stage where everyone starts to stretch out because they know that you could be in a position to lose your ground with Piqueras hitting the front.
This is Eddie O'Shea. He's in 11th place at the moment, head of the junior talent team machines. Joel Esteban is up the road ahead of him in 10th place, 2.2 seconds back of the grid, of the top 10.
Lonely race now for Eddie O'Shea. He's not going to make any progress from that position, so it's all about this battle at the front of the field. And Cruces being able to hit the front once again, so he probably made that move into the hairpin down into turn 10. He's able to hold that tight line on the brakes and give himself the opportunity. Fair play to Cruces to be able to attack back to try and hit the front.
Cruces, a podium finisher last time out to Aragon, don't forget, so he's got pace. He has got pace, he's in good form, and he really is looking to lead this race in the front. That sounds obvious. What I mean by that is he's comfortable doing it. He seems in a very good position, and he's got belief in his own pace and his own rhythm and his own race to command everybody else's and dictate everyone else's race and pace. Piqueras wants to come through, and really, Cruces is the only one who's looked like laying a glove on Piqueras. When Piqueras has come through, Cruces has gone with him and attacked back at a later stage.
Yeah, and you can see for Piqueras, though, running across that inside curb through turn 3. He's got a lot of confidence in the bike underneath him now. 3rd row of the grid, it's not a bad qualifying effort. It is compared to what we've seen from him all the way through the season. But given the lack of track time, he's now finding a lot more confidence. He's giving himself the opportunities he needs. He's hit the front now. Cruces, though, on the number 11 machine, he's led pretty much all but 2 laps of this race. And he's showing again that he wants to make those moves. He's got that high ground now down in towards the left-hander at the end of the back straight. able to get himself back in front. Good riding from Cruces on that 11 machine.
Marossi in third place was showing half a wheel to Piqueras then. I thought Marossi was going to let the brakes off. Not this time around. Oh, he is! No, he isn't. Oh, dear me. Turn 11. Just the camera angle there sometimes catches you out. Marossi, whatever way you look at it, is looking to try and come through on Piqueras. He's just trying to find the location to do it.
Yeah, and that battle for second in the championship as well is obviously something worth keeping an eye on. Luneta, Carpa, Zurutuza, Joel Esteban and Jacob Rolston on the number 12 machine. Rolston's still in the fight, but he needs to come through and finish on the podium if he's to do that.
They come through, turn 14, onto the front straight. Cruces leads again. Piqueras second, Luneta third, Carpe fourth, fifth place for Marossi, sixth for Zurutuza. And then there's a small gap back to Rolston, who's now being demoted by teammate Carraro. Eighth place then is, ninth place is Facundo Yambias, and closing in on them in the back of shot, but arriving too late, I feel. Joel Esteban from way back on row 9 of the grid. It's a valiant effort to be just 2.6 seconds away from your race leader.
Yeah, double long lap penalty for Joel as well in this race, so he's done a good job to be able to give himself a chance being able to get himself up to that lead group. He's still got a second to bridge, so he's not going to be able to do that unless everyone starts taking spots off each other. That's what we're seeing here with Carpe though, and that's opening up a little bit of a gap now for Luneta on the 58 machine, just to have a bit of breathing room behind him. He can focus on the riders in front of him, Piqueras and Cruces. As it is though, the key overtaking opportunities, they haven't changed. It's still the end of this straight. It's into the next right-hander, it's into the last corner and the first corner. So we'll know with 2 laps to go if anyone's got a bit of speed to be able to give themselves an advantage. But realistically, this is going right down to the last corner.
One disadvantage perhaps for Cruces is that he hasn't been able to have a long look at anyone else and where they're strong, Steve. He's been out front and he's been the one who's being studied by the likes of Piqueras and Luneta and Carpe. Is that going to be a disadvantage in the closing stages?
Well, the one thing about it is, well, he's taking defensive lines. Maybe at the end of the race, that's whenever we'll see that he takes the wider sweeping lines to carry that speed and use his speed to stay at the front. You can see there 3 abreast into the left-hander at the end of the lap. Piqueras, smart riding there just to concede that. You've still got 2 laps. P4 is not bad right now. You're well placed. But at the front of the field, Cruces has done a really good job of keeping a cool head every time he's being attacked. Is that going to be the difference between winning and losing this race? But everyone now starting to give themselves that chance to rev it up a little bit more, give yourself a little bit more speed to try and hit the front. And Zurutuza on the 85, he's had a very quiet race. He's now starting to make his progress, the pole sitter.
He is, and Luneta's still trying to battle through on Carpe. He needs to have been at war since Aragon, and they're still at it. Piqueras through into third place. That's a good move from the local rider. Valencian, of course, Piqueras. It's a shame he didn't win the title here in front of his own crowd.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race last time around, personal best for Joel Esteban as well, so he's trying to really bridge that gap. He's got it under a second, but he does need more fighting to happen in front of him, because Nico Carrera there on the number 10 machine, he just set his personal best as well. That's why he's giving himself an opportunity to move into the top 5 spots as well.
Zurutuza having a little look on the inside of Carpe, but not this time. I tell you what, Cruces is putting in a couple of Super Bowl laps here. I think this is when the pin has been pulled. This is when he's going for broke, the number 11. He's trying his best. It's the biggest distance we'd actually seen in that middle sector, more or less all race. And Cruces, if he's out front on his own, could be very strong, but Luneta's got the magnets on.
Yeah, Piqueras needs to make a move into the last corner, and then you've got an opportunity to try and attack into turn 1 as well. So the number 18 needs to hold that tight line on the run into the last corner. He's gone wide, so he knew that that line had been sealed off for an attack, so he now needs to use that slipstream down in towards turn 1. You run out of time very quickly around Valencia. It's a short lap around here, and for Piqueras, the podium, it's not enough for him. He wants that race victory.
Last lap time then. Cruces leads onto the final 4 kilometres of the race. Luneta second, coming through, not this time. Zurutuza had a look at turn 1.
Piqueras has that tight line through turn 1. It's going to set something up for 2.
Piqueras does have the tight line. He's up into second. Carpe from 4th up into second place. Marvellous move. So that's up into second at the doing corner. Now, this is what Cruces needed. He needs to do the Super Bowl style lap, and he needs the battling behind, and he's getting that. Piqueras swaps places again with Carpe, who strikes straight back at him at turn 5. So Carpe knows he's third in the championship at the moment. He needs to beat Luneta by 6 points or more to grab that going into race 2. Luneta knows that. These 3 are absolutely swapping paint, but out front, It's purple rain so far from Adrian Cruces. He's out front and trying his best to pull away. Carpe's going with him. Carpe and Cruces, I remind you, have never won a race. Neither is the rider in third place now. Luca Lanetta. Piqueras is sitting in fourth, but he's going to come under attack. Steve, it's going to be the last corner for sure.
Yeah, but you've seen Lanetta make a mistake there. That's handed the race victory to Cruces. He's going to take his first Junior GP race victory. But Carpe's done a good job to be able to give himself a chance at winning this one as well.
Final 2 corners. We're going up the hill now, over the rise, turn 13. Alvaro Carpe is fishing for victory. Will he go on the inside? Will he let the brakes off? Yes, he does. He goes wide. Cruces cuts it back under him. Piqueras and Two were swapping places for third. But Adrian Cruces, podium last time out, winner across the line in Valencia. Adrian Cruces, the number 11 for the first time, takes victory in Junior GP. The team are elated. Alvaro Carpe, second for him, and your champion from last time around, and indeed going out of Junior GP this year, Angel Piqueras third.
Yeah, really impressive stuff there from Adrian. Kept a cool head. Every time someone attacked him, he was able to hit his apex and get back underneath them. Really good riding from Adrian Cruces.
What a race then to start the day in Junior GP. Excuse me, the Finetwork Mia Racing Team bikes are back on top, this time in the form of Adrian Cruces. 2 podiums in 2023 so far. He is your Race 1 winner in Junior GP here in Valencia. Marvellous stuff indeed. Second for Carpe. Third, Piqueras. Outside the podium, poleman Xavi Zuratuza ahead of Nico Carraro, Luca Lanetta. That mistake at turn 11, in the end costing him. He looked like he had at least a podium, but he just got a bit excited up into that tight hairpin at turn 11. And Lanetta having to settle for 6th place, but he will go from the front row and he will be box office in race 2 later on. Ride of the day, Joel Esteban, 7th position, fantastic, from 27th on the grid, a marvellous effort from him. 8th for Alessandro Morossi, who in the end just faded away ever so slightly. Facundo Yambias taking 10th place, and in 9th was Jacob Wilson. Wilson, very unfortunate at that stage, just got pushed around a little bit. Outside of that top 10, we have Eddie O'Shea, the top of the junior talent team. 12th for Leo Ramersdorfer, 13th for Ari Araditama, Kataru Uchiumi back in the points in 14th, and Noah Detweiler from the pit lane in 15th place to 9. Tie rider Tachikon Boazri. But the scenes of celebration are clear for all to see down in pit lane as Adrian Cruces is back to his best. He was a winner in the European Talent Cup 2 years ago. That victory, though, came at Aragon. Last time out at Aragon in 2023, he took a podium, and this time he is finally back on the top step. It's been 2 years since he's been on the top step in a World Championship or on the road to a World Championship. So this one will mean a lot. All the team there, down there, ready and waiting to celebrate with him. Cruces, another winner in Junior GP. That's the 7th different winner of the 2023 Finetwork FIM Junior GP World Championship season. Carpe, I remind you, 2nd and denied a victory again. 3rd for Angel Piqueras, who takes another podium in what has been a season full of highlights. But what about it? What a race. Of course, keep in touch with all of us on social media right across all of the paddocks and all of the classes here in Junior GP, and you can get all the behind-the-scenes latest content wherever you get your social media, across YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, of course, Facebook, and many, many more. Don't forget Instagram. Angel Piqueras third, taking the plaudits from Alvaro Carpe. Carpe, like I said in the race, a bit of a Valencia specialist. He'll be looking to try and go one better. I say that the home hero, of course, is Angel Piqueras. He is also Cruces. He is Valencian. So what a place to take a first win. So Cruces back to his best. He has had many podiums right the way through his career. This is that last corner again. Carpe building up over the rise. And he let the brakes off, but that wide line, Steve called it perfectly alongside me. From Cruces, he swept back under him, and then the speed to the line, it was never going to be beaten. Cruces just holding on. I think if the line had been maybe a few 100 yards later, Carpe may have had more of a say. But Cruces, a first-time winner in Junior GP, the 7th different winner of the year. Carpe second, Piqueras third. Lots and lots of headlines right the way through the field. But once again, 2 new stars making headway in Junior GP. On the road, inevitably, to MotoGP. That's where Angel Piqueras is going to end up next year. He goes up to the Moto3 World Championship. Just waiting for your race winner, Adrian Cruces, to get into position. And then we'll be able to get his instant thoughts and first words as a race winner this year. All the paddock and the Parc Ferme organisers get everything set for the coming moment. Cruces, of course, not really in contention for second overall in the title. 25 points now added to his current tally of 78, puts him on 103, but unfortunately Lanetta and Carpe scored well as well. So I do make it that he's out of contention for second, but perhaps still in contention for third. I don't think second is settled just yet. Lanetta obviously with 10 points, that puts him on 122. Carpe with 20 points, that puts him on 126. So Carpe does leapfrog Lanetta in that battle to be runner-up to the runaway and dominant champion Angel Piqueras out the front. Joel Esteban, 5th place, of course, just behind Jabi Zurutuza coming into this. That will not change too drastically going into race 2. But your race winner for the first time in Junior GP is with Steve English. It is Adrian Cruces.
Adrian, what a race. To be able to win this one showed great racecraft, but what does it mean to get your first Junior GP win?
It was a very difficult race because the race I presented me with all the race, and it's a fantastic race for me and for the team. And I dedicate this race my team and my family for the support and thanks all.
And some words in Spanish?
Ha sido una carrera difícil porque he tenido que tirar toda la carrera para intentar escaparme, pero bueno, ha sido una increíble carrera. Muchas gracias al equipo y a mi familia por todo el apoyo y la siguiente más.
Thanks, Adrian. Well done, mate.
Stone me, hooray! What a way to start the 2023 Finetwork FIM Junior GP's final round. Race 1 blasted into life, and right from the outset it was Adrian Cruces who looked comfortable leading at the front as everyone battled behind. Alvaro Carpe coming from a 3rd row grid start, always one to watch, and he was right in contention from early doors. Poleman Jabi Zurutuza had work to do, whilst trouncing to the other side of the gravel. Casey O'Gorman's race was run early on. Crushes downfield, Kevin Varkas was one of them. Jacob Rosenthaler another. But out front, Cruces was just comfortable. Carpe tried at turn 1 a couple of times, not just on Cruces but on other riders. Never pulled it down, couldn't make an apex. Whilst Cruces, obviously on the limit, was learning all the time and still able to drive right under those who tried passing him at that opening turn. Across the line in the closing stages, Angel Piqueras on the head of row 3 was coming into contention, and he was straight through into second and briefly ahead. He had a couple of laps out front ahead of Adrian Cruces, and we did think that when Piqueras hit the front, it may well be time to check out. However, it wasn't quite the case. Cormac Buchanan's race was run, the New Zealander from Invercargill out of action in race 1. Cruces back to the front. Luca Lanetta and Alvaro Carpe continuing their battle from Aragon. That's been raging since round 6. Whilst Piqueras knew he had to come through and try and stay in contention with Cruces. Carpe up into second, and the last lap was soon upon us. Zurutuza battling away with Carraro and also Piqueras. Luca Lanetta's podium dreams are all done and dusted whilst it went to the last corner. Carpe tried, didn't succeed, and it was a first win for Adrian Cruces, who took victory with the Finetwork Mir Racing team celebrating in style down in pit lane. Cruces, the latest winner in Junior GP. And now it is time to get on with the podium ceremony. Of course, they will be in the order of 3, 2, 1. And we will see Angel Piqueras, home hero Piqueras, in third place. He's already been crowned champion. Piqueras, that is his 12th podium in the class. We obviously have a very enthusiastic podium announcer. That's second place for Carpe and race win for Adrian Cruces. Steve English is back alongside me. Fine words for the first time as a race winner from Adrian down there in Parc Ferme.
Yeah, really impressive from Adrian as well. And off camera, I was just chatting to him and saying how good of a job he had done, because his racecraft was second to none there. Thoroughly deserved that race victory. There was one stage in the middle of the race where it looked like other riders had a bit more speed than him, but they weren't able to take advantage of it because he was able to put his bike where it needed to be. Really cool head all the way through, and you have to say fair play to him for it, because that really was hard fought in a situation like that. He's a rider that's been able to win races in the past in the European Talent Cup, but to pick up your Junior GP race victory, that means an awful lot.
It is a 12th podium, as I say, for Piqueras. It's a 4th for Carpe, and recognise him, that's David Alonso. Race winner, Grand Prix winner, up in the Moto3 World Championship from Colombia, giving the winning trophy out to Adrian Cruces, who will be, I am sure, delighted with his year worth of free Wi-Fi and mobile data too.
Ese aplauso para los ganadores, para Ángel, para Álvaro y para Adrián, las 3 As.
Podium ceremony then all done. Celebrations to be started very, very soon. We'll have a quick look at the final results and the updated championship standings, I am sure. But Adrian Cruces, a fantastic race win from him. I wonder what race 2 is going to bring. Of course, the Junior GP class, the only class this weekend that do have two races throughout the course of the day. That is the 103rd different winner, by the way, for Adrian Cruces. He becomes our 103rd different winner since the inauguration of this paddock back in 1998. And ever since then, 25 years, plenty of stars have gone on to the MotoGP World Championship, hence why we're on the road to MotoGP. Celebrations then carrying on here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, just outside of Valencia here in Spain. Adrian Cruces, for the first time in his career, takes victory by less than a tenth of a second ahead of Álvaro Carpe. Angel Piqueras is third ahead of Xabi Zuritu's and Nico Carraro in the top 5. The top 7 all covered by less than a second. And I say again, a mighty ride by Joel Esteban, coming from 27th on the grid, 20 places and 2 long lap penalties later, up into 7th place. Facundo Yambias ahead of Britain's Eddie O'Shea. And there's a few new names right the way through. Leo Ramersdorfer back in the points ahead of Albi Aditama, Uchiumi and Detweiler completing your top 15. Bawazri just missing out, but the Thai rider is injured this weekend. All the way through, Daniel Sharil taking 22nd place. Indian Jeffrey Emmanuel in 23rd, but over a minute back. Ruche Moodley, one of their heavy-hitting names, not quite able to showcase full potential in race 1, but again, another stab at it later in race 2. Championship standings after 11 races of 12, 1 to go. That's coming up later on today. 81 points for Piqueras is that's the advantage over Carpe. Carpe leapfrogs Lunetta into second, just 4 points between those two in the battle for second overall. From second to sixth can all mathematically still take second in the championship, although realistically it is between Carpe and Lunetta. Eddie O'Shea is completing the top 10 on 61 points. He'll look to end this season on a high as we go right the way through the order. Jacob Rosenthaler, not a finisher today. Facundo Yambias, 10th place for him earlier on. That will have done his championship no harm at all. Casey O'Gorman, the Irishman, not able to finish race 1. He crashed at turn 11, but he'll be looking to fight back later on when race 2 fires up into life. That's coming your way. Race 2 kicking off at 1 o'clock local time, 12 UK time. Done and dusted. Race 1 of 5 in today's billing has been consigned to the history books. We have a new winner, the 103rd since 1998. It is Adrian Cruces. However, with plenty more opportunity to shine and later on 17-lap encounter, be sure that Cruces is not the only one to feature in the headlines today. Junior GP Race 1 is done. Next up, we get ready for the European Talent Cup.